Son of a bitch.
Groovy.
Hey everybody, this is Matthew Movies coming at you with my review of Scanners, the 1981 David Cronenberg sci-fi horror classic that is absolutely awesome. Just such a great film. I was lucky enough to win a copy of this from a giveaway put on by Psychic Celluloid Signals, whose channel I'm going to be linking to in the comment section below. He gave away a whole pack of movies, and this was one of them, and it was the Criterion edition, which makes it all the more cool. And I hadn't seen this movie in a number of years, and I wanted to sit down and really pay attention to it. Unfortunately, recently I was able to have that opportunity, and I watched it, and I remembered every reason why I loved it so much when I first saw it, and why this movie is so cool. For those of you who haven't seen it, essentially it is based in a world where there are characters that have psychic abilities, and they're able to read other people's minds, force them to do their bidding, or force them to have their head explode in the most extreme of moments. And I think this movie is great. They also have telekinetic abilities where they can make them fly and all that kind of stuff, and it's so cool. Their minds are their weapons, but you also get introduced to the concept that most of these scanners are destitute and are living on the streets or what have you, because they can't live a normal life, because they can't be around people because they're overwhelmed by their thoughts, and they get these massive headaches because they can't exist in the world that you or I do. But there's this company that has discovered this drug that they can give the scanners that allow them to control their abilities, and basically they're able to have a semblance of life again. But as a result of that, there's a group of the scanners who felt like that company or that group of scientists or what have you were taking advantage of them, and they've splintered off by themselves, led by one specific scanner, and they've become a deadly group that needs to be stopped. And right from the beginning, you get introduced to the main character of this film. He's a scanner that is living on the street, and he's the one who introduced you to the whole idea that they aren't able to live a normal life. And then he gets taken in and shown that he can grapple with his abilities and use them for good, and then he goes out to try to infiltrate the dark scanners society and gets discovered, and everything just kind of flies from there. And I think it's interesting because he's an actor that I don't recognize from anything else, but he does an exceptional job in this. He feels simultaneously like this fearsome being that you would be terrified to be around, but he also is very easily led and innocent, and doesn't understand society the way you or I do because he hasn't really been a part of it. And the actor who plays him does such a great job of playing both sides of him, and also it's very fascinating to see how his character progresses, and then how he becomes more confident as the film continues on, because he comes to understand what his place in the world, and how powerful he is, and all of that. I mean, it's just such a great film from that perspective. I mean, it's just written so expertly, and the thing that is so great about the character too is he's the epitome of what makes this movie work, where you have this kind of concept that's kind of a little bit heady, and maybe might have been other actors or directors might have struggled with introducing, and they do such a great job through his character of really putting the audience and the viewer in that world and making them understand how it ticks and how it works. And the other end of the spectrum is you have the villain character, played by the veteran character actor Michael Ironside, and he does just an extraordinary job in this. He's such a good actor, and he is so villainous in this, and so scary, and you can really understand that, given if the hero of this film wasn't able to tackle him, that he could easily be the ruler of a society or even the world within short order because of his abilities, and the idea that so few people would be able to do much about him other than, you know, dropping a massive bomb on him or whatever. And just the whole concept of the character is just so cool. Michael Ironside just plays him with such abandon, and you know, he's chewing the scenery for sure. It's a very over the top performance, but the character is over the top, so it doesn't feel like it's fascinating, because if he given this exact performance and the movie hadn't so adeptly handled the concept and the tone, it would have come off as goofy and awful. But because of the direction and the writing, it just works expertly and is one of the major strengths of this movie instead of being a weakness, which is awesome. I mean, Michael Ironside, so good. And you have the female lead, who's another scanner that is introduced to the main character, and she kind of becomes his love interest and partner in crime. She's relatively minor in the film in relation to him, but very, very important. It gives him somebody to care about, and she's, you know, she's no babe in the woods. She's not a damsel in distress. She can very adeptly handle herself, and she, it's interesting because she almost serves, through the beginning of the film, he is absolutely the window for the audience into the story. But then as the film progresses and he kind of takes on a more active role and is more of a leader than a follower, then she almost kind of transitions into that, because she's the one viewing what he's doing and concerned, and she's involved but not as certain. And so I thought that was really interesting, the way that they were able to very, very ably transition that role between the two characters was awesome. And the actor who plays the scientist, who kind of indoctrinates him into the world, is great. I mean, he's perfect, because he definitely comes off as a very scientific type, and he's very brainy and all up in his head, and somebody who at the same time feels very warm, but you know, maybe not as warm as you think. He's definitely out for his own means and his own ends, and he definitely cares about the other characters, but he does see them as an experiment of sorts. And there's a real dichotomy to his character, and the actor who plays him just really handles that effectively. If you can't tell, almost every character in this film is fascinating, because none of them feel skin deep. They all feel very much lived in, and just really are a major reason why this movie works. I mean, David Cronenberg does such a great job. And I'll say this, I mean, there is a moment that a lot of people think about when they think about this film, and for good reason. It's the opening sequence where there's the scanner at the beginning, the front of a classroom, and he's putting on a lecture about scanning, and Michael Ironside comes up, and their interaction and the way that Michael Ironside kind of turns the tables on him, and he's like because he's getting scanned. I mean, it's just such an amazing sequence, and it really, really drops you into this world, and then you kind of come to understand it as the film progresses. It's such a powerful sequence, and I really feel like it's because of the performances of the two actors, Michael Ironside and the gentleman who is the scanner that you introduced to. While he's getting scanned, like his physicality is great, and it works so great, because just prior to there's almost like a not a boredom to the conversation where he's explaining it to the people, but you feel like this is not the first time he's given this speech, and he's not super passionate. And then to have him just transition from that to being in a struggle for his life in such a short span of time, it's just so great. And you know, I absolutely adore this film. And I'll say this too, one of the major things I think is great about this is the poster for the film, the original one. I mean, it's this, instead of being like, you know, the picture of actors or whatever, it's this drawing or this piece of art of Michael Ironside's character, where he looks this kind of ungodly and just grotesque, and it's so stunning visually that when you look at it, it just really grabs you in and makes you, if you're a horror fan or the type of person that this movie would appeal to, makes you just want to buy into it just instantly. And there's so few posters that I think are that effective these days. A lot of them are so kind of boilerplate, where they have the same concept, where, you know, it's a lineup of heads, or it's a face, and then in the top corner, and then that person doing some like action in the bottom corner. I mean, they're so similar a lot of the time, and there are exceptions for sure, but this just really takes me back to the potential of what a poster could be, and my desire to see the genre return to posters of this sort is palpable and great. I love this movie. So those are my thoughts on it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. If you're a fan of it, please, please, please go check out Psychic Celluloid Signals channel. He's a great dude, a great couple of dudes, I should say. And the fact that they were able to put on this giveaway and I was lucky enough to win just means the world to me. And and you know, I'm not just saying I enjoy their channel because I won their giveaway. I've been a long time supporter of theirs, and I think they're just great people and have a really interesting channel where they talk film and just, you know, great dudes. So go check them out. And other than that, please hit that like button, hit that share button. It makes it much more likely that other people will come check out this video and let me know what they think, which would be great because I love talking to people about films. And if you're new here, you just haven't done it yet, please hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you can find out when I put out a new video and come and take a look. And then have yourself a good day.